Hello, welcome back to the Cricket Nerds. It's me, Zac, and I'm joined by James, and we're talking about the IPL. It's getting very close. There's one match to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have followed us this far, make sure you hit the like button. If you're watching this video, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't, and you can also follow us on social media. The link tree's in the description and all that. But anyway, today we're talking about Shubman Gill because he's been hinted at for a while that he's the next Virat Kohli, and this IPL he has proved himself. He's hit the second most runs for an Indian in an IPL season ever, behind Virat Kohli's 960 odd that he got in 2016. So the man is doing very good things at the moment. James, it was just the Shubman Gill show today, wasn't it? Gujarat beating Mumbai.
It was unbelievable. It was so impressive. I think the fact that he does it with such nice looking shots, because like when you watch Sky at his best, all of the shots look weird. Like he'll be sweeping the balls that are outside off and be doing all these crazy things. Whereas Shubman Gill, Shubbers as I like to call him, he plays orthodox shots. Just his timing is unreal, and that's why I think he's the prince. That's why he's the next big thing. Because when you watch Virat Kohli and you see how successful he's been in all three formats, it's because he plays orthodox shots incredibly well, and his timing is unbelievable.
Yeah,
and Shubman Gill, he's got that, and to strike the way he did was unreal. You got to feel for Tim David though, because he did drop Shubman Gill on 30.
Yeah.
And it was a difficult chance, but not that difficult. And I would expect Tim David to take it every time.
Yeah.
But that turned out to be possibly the most costly drop that we've seen in the IPL, because Gill then put on another 99 runs.
I think his strike rate after that drop was about 300.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was an unbelievable quality of hitting, and to hit 10 sixes is something special.
Yeah,
but the fact that it was, other than that drop on 30, it was chanceless. There really wasn't anything that Mumbai could have done.
nope.
There weren't areas that they could have bowled that would make that much of a difference. It was absolutely incredible. However, did highlight Mumbai's lack of bowling strength, which has obviously been their weakness throughout. And that was, it was the main reason that I didn't want Mumbai to get to the final, personally, because it would have made no sense for me after the amount that we slated them following the auction, because we were like, they haven't got any bowling. Jofra Archer is a maybe at most, and Bumrah is out injured. So we're like, they don't have any death bowling.
Yeah.
And the fact that they've got this far is commendable, to be honest. It's a massive statement to how good their batting is and how good they can be with just a few bowlers. But yeah,
I think it was tricky for them as well today, because I mean, Akash Madawal, he bowled very well against the Lucknow Super Giants, and there was a lot of hype around him, and he went to go from taking 5 for 5 to 1 for 52. It's night and day there. He did get the wicket of Shubman Gill, but I think it was just it was more Shubman Gill at the end of a great knock getting out, as opposed to an impressive ball. And the thing that really kind of pushed Gujarat to the point where their score was beyond reach was that final over where Hardik Pandya hit Chris Jordan for 19. And we've said time and time again, Chris Jordan, he's not performing at the death. He hasn't for a long time. He just can't bowl the same ball repeatedly, and it's not an effective ball if it does. So yeah, it's a struggle. And just to echo what you said, Mumbai have struggled for bowling this year. Piers Trawler's held a lot of things together. Jason Behrendorff hasn't really been going for many runs, but he hasn't really been taking the wickets to go with it. So it's just been a bit of that sort of season for Mumbai. But Gujarat, they're the better team, aren't they? However, their chase, they gave it a good go. I mean, when they were 120 off 11 overs, they were looking likely with Sky and Cameron Green at the crease.
Yeah, and I think Mumbai really they were really unfortunate that Chris Jordan not only bowled really badly, but he also I think he was it an elbow that he managed to elbow Ishan Kishan.
Yeah.
To the point where Ishan Kishan had to come off and he didn't come back on. So
it wasn't. It was a stinker of a game for him, really.
It wasn't Chris Jordan's finest.
No.
And yeah, so it's a huge shame because it meant that potentially one of the best batters in Indian cricket right now, even if he hasn't had the greatest form, one of the rising stars couldn't start that chase. And I think they really needed his impetus at the start, because Rohit Sharma, he's had another IPL to forget. A very, very disappointing campaign with the bat.
Yeah,
he's an incredible captain, but as far as batting goes, he just hasn't performed in the IPL for a long time. But yeah, having to open with Wadhera instead of Kishan, I think really hurt them, and it meant that they didn't have the platform for Green and Sky to build on. They were effectively starting with Green and Sky in a massive chase. And those guys did well, but they just couldn't carry on the momentum. Tilak Varma, though, he needs to play for India, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's looking great. I mean, he's been a shining light for Mumbai this season, especially toward the start of the season when Sky was still a bit out of form, and Cameron Green was getting used to things. He was providing some very useful knocks for them, and it was a shame he got injured, really, because he could have scored a load of runs. And Nahal Wadera as well, who I know came in for Ishan Kishan, but he's had a very good season. So there were promising signs for Mumbai Indians. But when you look at their team, you just think there isn't anything special there, except for Sky. But there isn't anything special there. But when you highlight someone like Cameron Green, the season he's had, he's been really impressive. So he's never played in the IPL before. To come in and have the season he has been really impressive. And you look at the three big signings in that IPL auction: Ben Stokes, Sam Curran, and Cameron Green. We said it before the IPL auction even happened. We said they would go for money. They did go for lots of money. And of the three, Curran, who was off the back of a very impressive World Cup campaign, Stokes, who's world renowned for being just amazing in all parts of the game and has got the man of the series in an IPL before, and then Cameron Green, who's not very known for his 2020 skills. Of the three, to know that Cameron Green would be the one who's had the standout season, that's quite incredible. And it kind of puts the English boys to shame.
And I think Green is the only one that's performed in the role that they wanted him for most.
Yeah.
Realistically, Punjab wanted Curran for his bowling the most. Turned out he performed the best, better with the bat. He was worse than useless with the ball. Chennai wanted Stokes for his batting mostly, but also a bit of leadership. Yeah. And he didn't provide at all because he didn't play. And then, Green, they obviously wanted him for his batting mostly, and he was absolutely brilliant. And I think his stats now will be a lot better. If I just have a quick look, in T20s now, if you have a look, watch our video previewing, but batting wise in T20s, he now averages 29 at a strike rate of 151.
Yeah,
which is a hell of a lot better. His bowling is still pitiful. He averages 50 with the ball in T20s, but batting wise, he's a very worthwhile player. And I think he needs to lock down that number 3 slot for Mumbai going forward. And they've got a good future with him, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Should we have
squad?
Should we have a little chat about because we've got a little theme in the last few, which has been talking about the ones that we've left behind, gone but not forgotten, and Lucknow Super Giants are the latest, well, the second latest in that saga.
Yeah.
Because Mumbai managed to put on an incredible total. Well, what turned out to be insurmountable. And it was one of those totals where everybody just chipped in. It wasn't like one person had a standout.
Yeah.
And Lucknow completely capitulated. And it was only really Stoinis that played well.
Yeah.
So what went wrong for Lucknow in their season?
There are a few things that went wrong. For me, one thing was not getting Quinton de Kock in as soon as he turned up. They persisted with Carl Mayers, which I think was the wrong decision. I know Carl Mayers did well at the start of the tournament. You do like to back your players, but at the same time, for me, Quinton de Kock is a no-brainer. He can win a game with the bat single-handedly. I think another problem was that bowlers didn't fire 100% of the time. They're relying quite heavily on Naveen or Huck to do a lot of the work. And it was a shame that Mark Wood got injured quite early on because he provided a lot for them. And another problem was Deepak Huda. I think he averaged 7 with the bat this season. And when he's an Indian international who you kind of bank on him to be a consistent performer for them, that's held them back a bit. I mean, the rest of them, Marcus Stoinis and Nick Pooran, have basically carried this lineup. They've won games from nowhere for them. And I think that's been the main difference for Lucknow and why they've got to the place they have. Because all round, that everyone's kind of chipped in at parts. But yeah, I think there are a few things missing, which is why they're probably not challenging for the title like CSK and Gujarat Titans. I don't know what you think in terms of their real strong points for this season.
Yeah, I think Prarak Mankad is a positive for them. I was annoyed when Punjab released him before last season because I think he's one of the few all-rounders in domestic cricket that is showing real signs of potential. And he played really well in the last game. Not so much this time, but he's a good option for them going forward. Stoinis was very, very impressive with the bat, and that's good to see. And Pooran had a stellar year. So they've got a core still. And Naveen Ul-Haq was super.
Was awesome. Yeah.
He was really, really good. But yeah, I think they don't know what their number 3 is if it's not Huda. And I don't think Huda is anything if not a number 3. I don't think he should be playing at number 6 or 7 or wherever they've been playing him. If he's not good enough to be in at 3, you don't play him, because I think they've got enough players for the middle order. And yeah, I think the whole Quinton de Kock, Kyle Mayers thing, I actually think one of the things they missed out on was not bowling Kyle Mayers a bit more, because we've seen how good he is. He gets ridiculous amounts of in-swing when he bowls in the power play. And I don't think they utilize that enough.
No.
But yeah, I think KL Rahul getting injured was obviously a shame, but I think if he'd played the way he can play, and we keep on saying this, we say this for Kings 11 Punjab, we say this for India, we say this for Lucknow. If he plays the way that he could, which is the not playing for my average, he could propel them into the finals and win some year.
Very easily. Yeah.
Until that happens, I think they're missing something.
Yeah.
So there we go.
If Badoni performs as we know he has, and Deepak Huda performs as we know he can, then that Lucknow Super Giants batting lineup is the best in the tournament, behind maybe Gujarat or CSK. So yeah, they're still a very strong side, I guess. But yeah, it's been a great IPL season. One match to go.
Should we do a
Sunday?
Quick CNQ?
Yeah, I was just about to ask, what CNQs do we have?
Oh, here's a good one. From RJ Pra one. I'm sure that's not his actual name. I'm sure it's something different, but there we go. Great content, fellas. Thanks, mate. Here's a suggestion. Could you please assess the next generation of cricketers at the moment? Shubman Gill versus Harry Brook. There are upcoming cricketers in Straya, and New Zealand to compare the previous Fab Four. So may we assess Shubman Gill versus Harry Brook versus Babar Azam? So who are the next big ones, I guess? So Fab Four at the moment, we've got Steve Smith, Joe Root, Kane Williamson, and Virat Kohli. And then a notable fifth in Babar Azam. Although he is a bit younger, isn't he? He's only in his 20s.
Yeah, he's
been around for ages.
Yeah, he's been the understudy.
But yeah, the next big things, we've got Shubbers
for Virat Kohli.
Harry Brook for Joe Root. Cam Green, he's got to be the next big thing in Australian cricket, hasn't he?
Yeah, probably.
For Steve Smith,
although Marnus Labuschagne's doing well. They may as well be.
He's very good, yeah.
They may as well be a terrific 10 at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're not including some really good players that could be good in the future, like Sarfaraz Khan or Yashasvi Jaiswal.
He's the guy from South Africa, DeWalt Brevis.
Yeah, DeWalt Brevis and Tristan Stubbs. Yeah. There's so many good players. So yeah, maybe someday we'll do a World 11 that we predict will be the World 11 in 2028 or something.
Yeah, James Anderson will be a part of that.
Yeah, and that was one comment that we had actually from Joydesh Chakraborty, who said Kohli can easily play for another 5-6 years with the kind of fitness he has. I said, I hope so. A 40-year-old Kohli versus a 46-year-old Jimmy Anderson in 2029 is what we want to see.
Yeah.
From Amar Reddy, absolute legend. He asked, how do you think KKR and DC are losing but still playing with fire in their belly? And why have Sunrisers Hyderabad given up after 10 games itself?
I know that Amar Reddy is a keen SRH fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's hard because sometimes you see that with teams when they have a bad season, they just look so lackluster. But you've seen it before where a team's had a terrible season and then they've just won in the most convincing way last game of the season, and you're like, how have you managed to do that? I mean, but I think Sunrisers, there's issues there. We talked about them in our last podcast, so go listen to that or watch that. But yeah, I think with Sunrisers, the fact that they weren't trusting certain players, it just seemed like there were issues there. There were deeper issues aside from the cricket, and that's a shame. But it happens with franchises, so hopefully that will be sorted for next year, because Sunrisers Hyderabad, they had a very strong squad. Who looked like they could have finished in the top 4 quite easily. So who knows? Next season.
Yeah. Sound right. That's where we're going to end. So thank you so much for listening and watching and supporting us all through the IPL. Don't forget to leave your Cricket Nerds questions. We will try to answer as many as we can in the next episode. Other than that, we will see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And goodbye.